Lexington Gold is the gold exploration and development company with projects in South Africa and the USA. In April, it raised just over £500,000. Well, to talk about money apportionment and projects, I'm delighted to be joined by the Chief Executive, Dr. Bernard Olivier. So, Bernard, I'm guessing some of that money is going towards the new exploration program at your Jennings-Pioneer project in South Carolina. So, what do you know is ahead of this new program, and what do you hope the new program will identify?
Well, good morning, Sarah, and thanks for meeting with me. Yes, you're right. We are starting a drilling program in Jennings-Pioneer. It's a follow-up program, and some of the money that we've raised will be allocated to it. It's a follow-up program of our program that we did 500 meters of drilling last year, and we are building on the data that we've received. It was actually very good results that we received from that first campaign. And we know that it's the extension of the neighboring Barite Hill mine. And we got good intersections of gold and polymetallics, which means that it's silver, base metals, as well as very interestingly for us, tellurium, which is a rare mineral, a rare earth element.
So, really, this new drilling campaign isn't that different from the previous one, because initially I was thinking that the contract for a minimum of 600 meters didn't sound too much, but you're being consistent.
Yes, it's part of our strategy, Sarah, is to do well-managed smaller campaigns that builds on the data from the previous campaign. Drilling can be very high risk and it is costly to drill. So if we can use smaller campaigns, especially as is the case in the Carolinas, where the drill rig is locally available, it's therefore very cheap to get it to site and we don't need to pay huge mobilization fees. Therefore, it works out very well to do smaller campaigns, get the data back, interpret it, and then design the next follow-up campaign so that the chances of intersection and extending the ore zone increases significant from a large campaign where a lot of holes are sort of desktop studies that has got a high risk of not succeeding.
So, as you said, the previous drill campaign confirmed gold, silver, base metals, as well as the tellurium mineralization extending
Yes.
northeast of the Barite Hill open pit. I'm just wondering, is it too early to put values on the metals found already?
Well, it's a great suite of metals, but yes, it is too early. We're in an exploration phase only. As I said, the drilling campaigns are well controlled, very well cost managed as well, but it is too early to put a value on it at this stage. But obviously, the goal is to continue expanding on it and to do another round of drilling, and eventually it will lead to a resource if all the results come back positive.
So therefore, it's far too early to be asking of you a JORC compliant resource from it.
At this stage, but that's always our goal is to work towards a resource. That's what we did in the Carolinas as well with Jones, Keystone, and Laughlin, where we established JORC resources on, and of course in South Africa as well, where we've got the Jelani JORC resource now, we've got the Bothaville JORC exploration target. So it's always the goal that we work to is to establish a JORC resource as cheaply as possible.
So I'm just wondering what the timelines are now, because you've got the drilling campaign, then I'm assuming core sample processing and assaying, which brings us to about the September time.
It will hopefully be a bit sooner than that. The drill rig is currently finishing up another campaign, then coming to site. So we're hoping to start drilling in sort of mid to late May on site. The drilling, as you said, is not a huge campaign, so it doesn't take very long. We'll be finished in June, then do the usual sort of core logging and sampling, and send it off to the assay labs. Unfortunately, sometimes there's some delays at the labs. It all depends on the backlog of other samples that's ahead of us in the queue.
So I went down a bit of a rabbit hole where the Barrett Hill mine was concerned. I went onto the internet and I found this document from about 2011. So I'm just wondering about your aspirations for the Barrett Hill mine. Is it to take control from the Environmental Protection Agency, or is the cleanup required from the historic site too much? Or is my intelligence so 2011 it's not relevant anymore?
No, it's a very valid question, and it is something that we are looking at. It's also something that are currently being done on other mines that the EPA has taken control over, and then allow work to be done. But at some stage, the company that comes in do need to then either refund the EPA or actually fund the entire rehabilitation, which could be, huge amounts of money. An example is the Brewer mine, where I think they're saying there's a $30 million environmental rehabilitation needed for it. So our focus is very much on the extension first of Jennings-Pioneer. And as that starts to develop and becomes of a sizable sort of a resource, then it could be of interest to look at how we can structure something with EPA a little bit on Barite Hill, similar to how the Brewer mine was structured, where we can do work without assuming that liability upfront. But if the resources support it, one can then enter into a final agreement to acquire both the rehabilitation but also the resource.
So let's go to South Africa now. What is the priority there?
South Africa has been sort of very positive in the results we've been achieved so far over our project. So it's very much our priority to continue with the Harmony joint venture, Jelani joint venture. We've now got over 6 million ounces in a JORC resource. We are working closely with Harmony in various studies, including a current study that is ongoing on the mine layout, mine technical study. And then our own drilling campaign at Bothaville proved up a 5.8 million ounce upper limit of a JORC exploration target. So a lot of positive developments in South Africa.
So how close is that joint venture with Harmony Gold to the application of a mining license? And, once that's been done, if that's going to be done, how long would the mining license take to come through after application?
I think that's very much the next step for us with the joint venture. We are first doing the current studies with Barra, and that basically leads into some of the information that is required for a mining license application. So certainly the next step is for the mining license application to be compiled and submitted. It can take quite a long time for a mining license application to be permitted. But as long as all the studies and everything is done correctly up front, the process can take around a year to up to 2 years.
Okay, there's lots of other things going on in South Africa, as you alluded to. You also have the Ventersburg Gold Project, and the story there that I believe is one of synergies. So how are the talks regarding the potential consolidation of the gold field there, sort of aligning the adjacent properties to maximize resource and operational efficiencies?
Exactly right. On terms of the potential at Ventersburg, it is combining the different projects that it's sitting all next to each other. Our license is effectively the extension of the Gold One resource that they are currently looking at developing, and already in some stages looking at the development of the Ventersburg project. So it is very exciting for us to be able to combine the projects there into what could be a very significant, large combined project, ours plus Gold One plus some additional licenses in the area.
And your Kroonstad concession, it's been described as potentially transformative, a 62 million ounce exploration target with the potential to become a new gold field. What is happening there?
Well, Sarah, you're absolutely right. Kroonstad is quite astonishing. It is potentially a huge new gold field that is semi-undiscovered. It's, as you said, it's got a huge resource estimation on it. It's not JORC compliant, but it is an independent resource estimation. And we are currently in the process of both renewing and applying for new licenses over that area. So it's in the permitting and application phase, but as soon as that is been awarded, we will very actively start working on it, because we are as you said, very excited about the potential of it.
And in terms of the strength of partnerships that you have in South Africa, because just listening to that, it sounds pretty overwhelming, but it's not just you. So how are the partnerships going? The strength of the bonds? Is everyone working at the same pace? Do they have the same vision?
Well, we've got two majors that we are working with. Obviously, Gold One that we are currently looking at Ventersburg with, and then Harmony Gold, which is South Africa's biggest gold mining company. And the Ventersburg asset is quite huge in terms of size, 6 million ounces, with existing infrastructure owned by Harmony. So I think I can say that we work very closely with both those sort of major mining houses, and we, are very eager to progress those projects in terms of on the ground as well. We've got Letsema Holdings as our BEE partner, and Letsema Holdings is bringing a lot to the table as well with their knowledge of the mining industry, but also finance, debt financing, all of these things which they are very familiar with in South Africa.
The last question is probably the hardest to answer, but Lexington Gold has so many potentials in its portfolio. So, what excites you the most? What's the most achievable?
Well, I think it's actually the whole of Lexington Gold and the tremendous potential we have. The South African projects are stacking up into, a truly sort of world-class combination of assets. And I think the exciting thing for me is where we're heading with the combination of it, the exploration versus joint venture versus potential agreements in the pipeline. And I think it's just a matter of time before investors and potential new shareholders see what we really have as a gold company, and the large amount of resources that we have that we are developing.
Excellent. Many thanks for joining us, Bernard Olivier, Chief Executive of Lexington Gold. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Sarah.